Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. NVIDIA dropped about 6% today. Let's discuss NVIDIA's price movement for today and try to make some assessment for tomorrow and Monday next week. Starting with the daily summary, NVIDIA opened at 135.75. It made a high 136.15. It made a low 127.05 and it closed at 127.40. That is 5.57% down. And after hours, it's already down 0.82%. So, what could be the possible reason for Nvidia drop today? Let's start with the Bollinger Bands in the technical chart analysis. So, I showed you this Bollinger Band yesterday, and I made a comment that Nvidia is showing a positive momentum since past few days, and Nvidia is already up 10% in last 5 days, and there was some possibility for Nvidia to go down. For example, yesterday I gave an example of this behavior. After touching here, it went down, and also this movement after going high for many days, it went down, and also here. Yesterday we took a look at Nvidia curve and we saw the similar behavior happening in past few days. So there was some possibility that Nvidia could go down. That's what I mentioned yesterday. But I was not expecting this drop would come today. I was expecting maybe it would come sometime next week. So it came earlier than I expected. But eventually the drop had to come back because Nvidia cannot go up every day. At this time, there is no supporting data or news that can cause Nvidia downward movement. Only thing I can think of at this point is some profit taking is happening for Nvidia today, and it might happen tomorrow as well. But I think that this behavior is temporary. And another reason I can say this is the CPI data. As we noted that the CPI data came lower than the forecast, so that should be a good news for the market, and that would have caused market to go up. But we saw the mixed behavior in the market. For example, S&P and Nasdaq went down today, but Dow Jones went up. Let's take a look. You see S&P is down 0.88% and also Nasdaq is down 1.95%, but Dow Jones is up about 0.08%. So it's a mixed behavior in the market. Let's take a look CPI data that got released today. So you see that the CPI actuals 3% versus the forecast 3.1%. So the actuals came lower than the forecast. And if we take a look the core CPI, that came 3.3% actual versus 3.4% forecast. So the core CPI also came lower than the forecast. And this should be a good news for the rate cut, as we can expect that since inflation is going down, the rate cut should come sooner than expected. Let's take a look what are the different news about the rate cut after this inflation data. You see this news from Wall Street Journal that says that milder inflation opens door for September rate cut. Another one from the PBS that says that cooling inflation may pave way for interest rate cut soon. And from the CNBC that says that the Fed may soon cut interest rate. So as you see that most of the analysts and the news are talking about interest rate should come sooner than expected. And that should have helped the market go up. But to my surprise, it went down today. And this gives a signal that this might be a temporary correction. And I'm expecting that market should go up next week. And regarding my position, I found this a good opportunity to buy Nvidia stock. So I bought Nvidia around 128.7 and another buy around 128.87. I still have more cash available. Probably I'll place another buy tomorrow or Monday if Nvidia drops below 125. Because based on my understanding, this is a temporary sell off and Nvidia should bounce back or next week. Now let's take a look stock split analysis data. You see this table on your screen. At this point, Nvidia is at 34.18% up from the announcement date, and we are at week number 5 after split became effective. In the last stock split cycle from week 4 to week 5, we saw that about 20% upside. But as I mentioned before that this might be an anomaly. I was not expecting 20% upside for this week. I guess the more relevant is the historical data for last quarter that I showed you few days ago. Let's take a look one more time. I showed you this chart a few days ago. I mentioned that in the second month after earnings, Nvidia showed some slowdown. The second month started after 21st March, and you see that the trend was slightly down compared with the first month after earnings. So I was expecting the same behavior in the cycle. Second month after earnings should be a slower month versus the first month. And if you take a look at this quarter behavior so far, so this is what it shows for NVIDIA for this quarter after earnings. The first month after earning, that is 23rd May through 22nd June, we see that the upside or upward movement, and after that we saw some decline, but last few days we saw some increase in the Nvidia stock price. But as of now, it's almost flat. It started around 128 the second month after earnings, and at this point again is at 128. Now let's take a look other AI stocks. You see that other than SoundHound, all the AI stocks are negative today. So SoundHound was 5.92% up. The highest negative change we saw today was in Nvidia, that is 5.57%. So if Nvidia goes down tomorrow as well, then I expect some recovery next week. Now let's find out next support and the resistance levels using the Fibonacci retracements. Now you see Fibonacci levels on your screen. I selected 93.84 as my lowest point and 140.56 as my highest point. The reason I selected this point is because Nvidia is already down below 129. So I wanted to see the medium term outlook for Nvidia versus the short term outlook. The next level of support at this point is at 122.71 and after that is 117.2. At this point, Nvidia after hours is at 126.40 and is trending down. Will be interesting to see if Nvidia can touch 122.7 tomorrow. So even if Nvidia goes down below 122 tomorrow or Monday, I'm not expecting Nvidia to go below 117. So probably below 122 may be a good buy for Nvidia if you want to keep it until the earnings. But I'm not going to wait that long. If I get a good price between 120 and 125, I probably place more buy for Nvidia. Now let's take a look news regarding Nvidia. So as we saw yesterday, almost all of the news were positive for Nvidia because Nvidia has been going up since past few days. So now I see some mixed news regarding Nvidia. For example, this one that says that Nvidia director Mark Stevens sells 785K shares at average price of 132.48. Since he sold out Nvidia stock, it does not mean that Nvidia should be going down. Now, this one, Nvidia too pricey here is where else to look for summer stocks. So now these guys started talking about Nvidia too pricey. See how quickly they change their stance on Nvidia. So this means that we should not trust these kind of analysis too much unless their analysis is based on the solid data. So now this one that says that shares of semiconductor stocks are trading lower due to the ongoing market volatility as the market pulls back following recent CPI data. That does not make any sense to me. After getting positive CPI data, we should be expecting market to go up. I guess that's all about news regarding Nvidia and overall market. Now let's take a look economic calendar to see if there is any data coming tomorrow and next week. So today we got CPI. Tomorrow we have the PPI coming, and that is also important. And we're expecting 0.1%, and core PPI we're expecting 0.2%. On Monday, no big data is coming, but Mr. Paul is speaking. Around 12 o'clock on Monday, market might show some volatility. On Tuesday, nothing big coming. On Wednesday next week, nothing big. On Thursday next week, nothing big, only the weekly initial jobless claim. And Friday next week, nothing big is coming. So next week is pretty quiet except Monday. So that's all about NVIDIA analysis and assessment for today and Monday next week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.